these are all important, but there's something else coming. We have 2 constitutional amendments. The first one here deals with bureaucratic, unelected officers and agencies within the executive branch who create the rules and regulations that really, from time to time, are restrictive to your direct representatives in the legislature. Now, the legislature, your direct representatives are supposed to be the most powerful branch of your Kansas government and the most important because they are your direct representatives. They represent the power of the people against an oppressive, ever-expanding, expensive government. Okay? Well, that's what this is all about right here. Now, I was very skeptical at first because I'm always skeptical of any constitutional amendment because I'm aware that there's always somebody with an agenda or self-interest trying to trick the people into changing the Constitution to benefit something or themselves or some agenda that they're attempting to achieve. It's important for them to get that power. Now, this is not one of those cases. The purpose of this amendment is to provide the legislature with oversight of state executive branch agencies and officials by providing the legislature authority to establish procedures to revoke or suspend rules and regulations. A vote for this proposition would allow the legislature to establish procedures to revoke or suspend rules and regulations that are adopted by state executive branch agencies and officials that have the force and effect of law. Okay, a vote against it means no change. Everything remains the same. Okay? So what this means is that you are making sure that the legislature, the people you actually elect to represent you in the state of Kansas, has the power to overturn regulations and rules that are coming from unelected bureaucrats from within the executive branch. Who do you want to have that power? People you don't know or people you elect in the legislature who have the power to create law? You do not want a deep state, which is what we have. We have a deep state in Kansas government, and that's why we're going in the wrong direction. Okay, now it says here, legislative oversight of administrative rules and regulations. That's what it's called. Whenever the legislature, by law, has authorized any officer or agency within the executive branch or government to adopt rules and regulations that have the force and effect of law, the legislature may provide by law for the revocation or suspension of any such rule and regulation, or any portion thereof, upon a vote of a majority of the members then elected or appointed and qualified in each house. For me, this would be a vote of yes. There's nothing wrong with this, constitutionally speaking. The power is being placed where it should be. Okay, I do believe that it's always been there, with or without this constitutional amendment. It's just that they just don't know that they have the power. But by putting it in the Constitution, it's there. No one can dispute it. Now, here's the other one. This is extremely important. Okay, this is a constitutional amendment to put the election of your county sheriff in the Constitution. Now, that sounds great, but let me put it this way. The power is in the people. Historically and traditionally, in the state of Kansas to elect their own sheriff. Now, their sheriff has the power to protect the people from federal infringements and state infringements. You can't ask for anything more powerful than a constitutional sheriff. Now, you need to elect a constitutional sheriff. Sometimes a lot of times they're not constitutional at all, and they think they're law enforcement officers. Now, why do you need people like that when you have city police officers? They don't have to swear an oath to a constitution. They serve the government. A sheriff serves the Constitution and the people. They stand between the federal government and the people, or the state government and the people, and they have that power to protect the people, the rights of the people. It says here, all of this came from constitutional sheriffs associations. To keep the peace and to secure, defend, and protect the people of this jurisdiction from threats to their liberties, their livelihoods, and the peaceable enjoyment of their property. The nature of that solemn oath requires that the actions of the sheriff in the performance of his or her duty must conform to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state. Okay? So their duty is to protect the people and their natural rights per state constitutions and the Bill of Rights of the U.S. Constitution. And they do have the power to protect the people from any level of government. There is no level of government above your local sheriff. Okay. Now it says here's the explanatory statement. This amendment would preserve the right of citizens of each county that elected a county sheriff as of January 11th, 2022, to continue electing the county sheriff. The amendment would also provide that a county sheriff only may be involuntarily removed from the office pursuant to either a recall election. Okay, now that's the way it's done by the people. The people elect the sheriff. The people can recall an elected sheriff. But here's the kicker. Or a writ of quo warranto initiated by the Attorney General. Now, the elected sheriff by the people, the only authority over your elected sheriff is who? The people of your county. It was never intended that there would be a government agency of any level for any reason above your elected sheriff. The only authority over your elected county sheriff would be you and me, the people. Okay? The people can already recall an elected sheriff. The people have the sole authority and power over the elected sheriff, and that's why the elected sheriff, county sheriff, is an amazing tool that's designed specifically to protect the rights of the people from infringement, and we don't want to change that. Okay. Now this all sounds good, but people aren't going to think about that. So you're basically putting your county sheriff back into government oversight and control. So why bother having a county sheriff? Now they'll tell you it's no big deal, and the writ of quo warranto, they're just talking about qualifications, if you have a bad sheriff. I'm sorry, that's really up to the people, don't you think? Okay, a vote for this proposition would preserve the right of citizens of each county that elected a county sheriff as of January 11th, 2022, to continue. Don't we already have that right? to continue electing the county sheriff via popular vote. Don't we already have that right? But here it is. The amendment would also direct that a county sheriff only may be involuntarily removed from office pursuant to either a recall election, which we already can do, or a writ of quo warranto. That, again, that's it. Initiated by the Attorney General of the state of Kansas. So what have you done if you agree to this? You've taken your power and moved it to your government. A vote against this proposition would not make any changes to the Constitution and would retain current law concerning the election of a sheriff and the procedures for involuntary removal of a sheriff from office. Okay? So, you just have to think about with these, what are they trying to do here? They're trying to take your authority over your sheriff, who is about the only protection between you and an overreaching, powerful federal or state government. I just can't imagine. I don't know what these people were thinking. Either they know what they're doing and are trying to trick the people, or they just didn't think through it. Okay? And anyway, there's more explanation here, but I've given it to you. I'm going to go down here, removal of officers, just to kind of reiterate. A, except as provided in subsection B, all county and township officers may be removed from office in such manner and for such cause as shall be prescribed by law. Okay. B, a county sheriff only may be involuntarily removed from office by recall election pursuant to Section 3 of Article 4 of this Constitution, or a writ of quo warranto initiated by the Attorney General. Now, to kind of help out a little bit, this is actually some definitions that I looked up of quo warranto. Okay. A legal proceeding during which an individual's right to hold an office or governmental privilege is challenged. If you get the wrong attorney general in the state of Kansas, what do you think is going to happen to your sheriff who's trying to protect you from unconstitutional mandates or draconian reactions to situations in the state of Kansas? Okay? They'll come up with all kinds of reasons to get rid of your sheriff because he or she is standing in the way. Okay? Think about that. All right. In some quo warranto proceedings, the issue whether the defendant is entitled to hold the office he or she claims or to exercise the authority he or she presumes to have from the government. In addition, proceedings have challenged the right to the position of county commissioner, treasurer, school board member, district attorney, judge, or tax commissioner. In certain jurisdictions, quo warranto is a proper proceeding to challenge individuals who are acting as officers or directors of business corporations. Now, this would be the sheriff, not a business corporation. Okay. Statutes describing quo warranto usually indicate where it is appropriate. Ordinarily, it is proper to try the issue of whether a public office or authority is being abused. For example, it might be used to challenge the unauthorized practice of a profession, such as law or medicine. In such situations, the challenge is an assertion that the defendant is not qualified to hold the position she or he claims. Okay, now do you want a government institution or government department like the Attorney General to have that authority over your elected county sheriff? I don't think so. I mean, it's up to you. You have to vote, not me. I'm voting no on this one. I'm voting yes on this one because it's actually going to keep power near the people and their direct representatives. Over here, they are stealing. They are going to steal power from you in a big way and your directly elected sheriff, county sheriff, hopefully a constitutional county sheriff, away from you and your sheriff and placing it in the department or the office of Attorney General. Ultimately, they're going to abuse this. They will say that they will not abuse it, but they will abuse it eventually. That's the way it always happens. Now, I believe it's the right of any county, which is the way it is now. If a county wants an elected constitutional sheriff, then they should have the power and the right to elect their own sheriff. If they do not want a sheriff in their county, then let them suffer the consequences. Down the road, they will suffer the consequences because a federal mandate will come down the pike, and those people will be at the mercy of who? Themselves, to try to protect themselves. They have no protection. They have no sheriff with the power and authority to stop mandates like this. Okay? This is exactly what you don't want to do. So there are some counties in the state of Kansas that have done away with the office of sheriff in their county. They can reinstate it anytime they want and become, and have their sheriff, but they can do that anyway. Okay? This amendment here is not something that I can subscribe to. Okay? All right. I will tell you this, that I'm voting principle over party. I am not, I'm registered Republican, but I'm voting independent. I'm voting libertarian. I'm writing in names, and I'm voting Republican. I'm doing the whole gamut, and I'm not thinking about the party. I'm thinking about the individual and what they have proven to me they will do or not do. So that's how everyone needs to vote. Stop voting tribal. Okay? You're being forced into a two-party box. And because of that, we are in the situation that we're in today. Things aren't going so well. And why do you think that is? It's because Democrats vote Democrat, Republicans vote Republican tribe, no matter what. And nobody's looking at the independent, and nobody's looking at the libertarian. Well, some are. But I think you need to look at the independents and the libertarians this time, because they want to fix the problem. Okay? So that's all I have for you today. This is Verity Seeker, and I'm your host, Mark Powls. Thank you for listening.